Happy Father's Day from the Midwest. We are live in Newton, Iowa. It's part 2 of our NASCAR doubleheader here at Iowa Speedway. First up for the Xfinity Series is qualifying. Rain yesterday, not today. It is gorgeous here. As we put the cars on track, they'll get 2 laps apiece to set the field for the green flag that happens shortly after 5:30 Eastern Time on FS1. So what a departure from 24 hours ago. Right now, 72 degrees, partly cloudy skies. It is perfect. And because of all the rain yesterday, we were limited on our practice time. Only 30 minutes for these Xfinity cars. Here are the top 10. With Michael Waltrip, Regan Smith, I'm Adam Alexander. Fellas, what do you see here from yesterday?
Well, I'm looking at Harrison Burton, fresh off of the truck race right now, quickest in practice yesterday. He's got a lot of track time. He's the only driver that's going to go out and qualify right now that knows exactly where that track is at when he makes his lap.
I just think these guys are so ready to get on the racetrack. I mean, that truck race was awesome. They saw so much action. That'll get your blood pumping. You want to get out there and go. It's going to be a fun qualifying session.
Harrison Burton not the only one double dipping. Michael is, so is Hermie Sadler down in the garage. Hey, Herm.
Thank you, Adam. And we've got Harrison Burton. It's been a long day for you, but as you mentioned, if you're a race car driver, this is what fun is all about. Top 5 finish in the trucks. How do you take some momentum from that and carry it over to the Xfinity Series?
Well, it gives me a little bit of a heads up on everyone. I know what the track has been doing and how the rubber has been treating it and what it does to our cars or trucks. So pretty excited to go out and hopefully use that to my advantage in qualifying in the race. Like you said, I'm having a lot of fun. This is like when I go to bed and have a really good dream, this is like a really good dream. I get to race 2 times in one day and have a lot of fun doing it at one of my favorite racetracks at Iowa Speedway.
Good day so far. Top 5 in the truck, as you guys mentioned, fastest in practice yesterday. Looking forward to another solid run here this afternoon.
A lot of success at this track, success with this race team. Top 10 earlier this year when he made his Xfinity debut in Bristol, Tennessee. We're going qualifying next from Iowa. Timmy Hill, the first to qualify. 38 cars here this weekend. Everyone will make the show.
It's interesting to me to see the lines these guys will choose, Regan. We know the track's got some rubber on it. It's heated up. Do they dive right to the bottom? It seems like that would be the preferred line. But I know there'll probably be some guys run up in the middle of the track.
Yeah, and they're going to have to watch these early cars to make sure they know what's taking place. I talked to Michael Annette earlier today, and he made that comment that he might run one line on his first lap and a different line on his second lap because he doesn't know.
What's up, Herbie?
Well, Adam, got Noah Gregson here on pit road at Iowa. Good run for you guys last week, a little momentum, and looked like yesterday's practice was kind of, not a whole lot of thrashing going on, not a lot of work going on this car. So does that mean it's pretty good for this weekend?
I think so. I think that speed goes back to the preparation of the shop, and my switch guys at Junior Motorsports, they do have a hell of a job every single weekend. We're coming off some momentum this past week in Michigan, so I think we were 4th yesterday, which is good, but it's kind of one of those deals where it's a question mark because we don't really know what we have because we didn't get to run enough. We only made 2 or 3 runs out there, so I'm really happy with my Junior Motorsports Switch Camaro. It's a track that I feel like is one of my best, and so just gonna go out there. It rewards drivers who go balls to the wall, so hopefully I don't hit the wall, but I'm gonna be getting after it for sure.
Adam?
Great analysis from Noah Gregson, laying it right out there what it takes to be successful at Iowa.
Well, and it's a racetrack that there's so much character to the racetrack, and you got to be aggressive with it. But at the same time, Michael and I discussed this yesterday, that you also have to understand that you can overdrive your race car still, and it can cause a problem for you.
Yeah, it's such a delicate balance, and I think that's why you hear these drivers talking about how confused they can be at times. You want to drive deep down in the corner because it'll go down there, but then you lose momentum through the center of the corner, and it can cost you more.
Joe Graff Jr. the quickest after missing the race last weekend at Michigan. A little loose through turns 1 and 2 there.
Well, that's just something that you see at Iowa a number of times. You think that you can get back to the gas sooner than what you actually can at times. He went to the throttle early trying to get that perfect qualifying lap, but as that car starts to load back up again coming out of the banking right there, he was a little tight, had a little too much wheel to it, and then it snapped when it picked that banking up and you saw him jump sideways.
Student at New York University, doing an internship in Richard Childress Racing, making a handful of starts in the Xfinity Series. It's Graff, Green, and Hill, the top 3, as we look at the 86 of Brandon Brown.
Graff was able to pick up nearly a Adam, and that time that he ran just now would have put him in the 12th to 13th range. So good pickup for that young racer, and also maybe a sign that there's a lot of speed in this racetrack. Let's see what Brandon does.
Brown is now the quickest, 24:49 for him.
That's a half second better than yesterday.
A nice lap for him coming off of a rough week last week. You know, he's a short track racer from Virginia. I'm sure he was really had this marked on his schedule to get here after the struggles that they had at Michigan trying to figure out that racetrack.
Been here in the Xfinity Series, couple of starts in the Gander Outdoor Truck Series. Better yet on lap number 2, Michael.
Yeah, that's the 6th fastest time that we've seen since we've been here. So he had a nice pickup. He was down in 21st in practice yesterday, and that time would have put him 6th in practice. So picking up a lot of speed here. I like it.
Brand new race team here, the 28 of Shane Lee.
I'm excited to see these guys go out and race today. They had some good speed yesterday in practice. And when you have a brand new race team and you can be on the top 15 of the board in a practice session, it really gives you some confidence. And a lot of work had to go into getting this race car ready and getting this team built in a very short amount of time. They announced it not very long ago at Charlotte that they were going to go racing. And here they are. They're going to run the rest of the season with this 28 car and Shane Lee behind the wheel.
Mentioned he was 15th quick, and Michael, look at him compared to what Brown was able to do.
Yeah, he had a nice pickup. You can kind of get to see a pattern here, Adam. See him lose time into the corner, but then gain it coming off. That's just the sacrifice you try to figure out where you want to be fastest, on entry or on exit. I like exit, Regan. How did you ever attack this track?
Well, I probably attacked it wrong for the majority of the time, but exit is definitely where you want the speed at this racetrack. You got to think about the fact that the straightaways are still relatively long here, and you can make up a lot more time if you have that momentum built up all the way down the straightaway. But turn 1 does present a number of options. You can go in low, maybe lift a little bit early, or you can go in higher and drive the car further off into the corner. It's just a matter of how your car is set up and what you've planned for.
6th car on track is Gray Gaulding. Opening lap for him puts him 4th. Everybody gets 2 laps because we are at a track 1.25 miles in length or shorter. All tracks north of that distance, you get only 1 lap in qualifying. This is the case since back in early May when we went to single car, single round qualifying. 2nd lap quicker for Gaulding, moves him to 3rd, 24:45 for the driver out of Virginia for Bobby Dotter.
And another nice pickup for him. We're seeing consistently a number of these cars going earlier picked up as much of a half a second to a second from where they practiced at yesterday. It's going to be interesting as we get down to some of the maybe a little bit quicker cars towards the end of this qualifying session, how aggressive they are and how much time they can actually pick up, since nobody knows what qualifying trim has for them with this particular tire that's on the cars this weekend.
Last 20 cars we'll see in qualifying today, the quickest 20 from qualifying a week ago at Michigan. So there should be some drama when we get in the latter stages. Stan Mullis in the 66, currently 7th.
Didn't come up to the green flag with a lot of pace. I don't know what the problem was there, but this lap is going a little bit better.
We see not quite using all the racetrack available on the exit of the corner there. That's you know, a sign that maybe there's just a little bit left with that race car that he might want to find out of it when it comes time for the race to really use that racetrack up and build up his momentum.
Here's your guy, Michael, Ryan Repko in the 01.
Yeah, just fun listening to him on Sirius XM talk about this debut and the chance he's going to get to race for Johnny Davis and all the folks that help out Ryan getting to get to the racetrack. That's what it's all about for these young kids. I mean, they're going to mix it up in Iowa with the big 3 of the Xfinity Series. He's going to have a lot of fun this afternoon. He's got some pretty good pace too.
Iowa Speedway saw the Xfinity Series for the first time in 2009, and in that 10-year window, no track has hosted more drivers making their first career start than this place. Repko will be the 38th driver to start in the Xfinity Series for the first time in his career here in Newton, Iowa. His qualifying run puts him 5th of 8 cars.
But Austin Cindric is pretty good behind the wheel. He's always fun to interview because we're basically the same height, so it works out good for the camera guy as well. But your weekend so far, limited practice. Did you get everything done that you need to get done prior to qualifying?
I think honestly the biggest deal is, not getting to run pit road speeds, kind of having to worry through your stuff because we all kind of knew the weather was coming. But we had 2 races here last year, and I thought they were both good events. So hopefully this should be a pretty good race weekend for us. Always good to have you back here hanging out with us. But I think we got a fast Menards Richmond 4 Mustang.
We'll see what he can do. And another golf update, Adam. Elliott Sadler this weekend competing in the member guest at the Emporia Country Club. Was the leader in the clubhouse last night. We'll see if he can keep it between the fences today.
Elliott, a great golfer, great basketball player, good here at Iowa. Won this race in, I want to say it was 2012, but I can tell you it was the only time that RCR won a race at Iowa. The Xfinity Series was Elliott behind the wheel.
Elliott's got a little home game there at the Emporia Country Club, as does Cedar Rapids, Iowa's Joey Gase here in the 35 Donate Life car.
Absolutely have to love Joey's personality and just his enthusiasm. One of the happiest guys in the garage area, and he works very hard at what he does, and a lot of races this year for him, and always good for him to get a race at Iowa. As Michael said, it's his home racetrack, and means a lot to him.
One of 2 drivers in the field that's calling this a home game. Got the one we'll see later in qualifying, and Michael Lynette won earlier this year at Daytona. And last year, Gander Outdoor Truck Series came on Father's Day weekend. Brett Moffitt won at his home venue. He too is from the great state of Iowa.
Just picked up a 2nd place finish in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series race today. Good run. Congratulations to Ross Chastain, who won that race.
A fun race too. No lack of excitement under green or yellow in that race.
And Regan, I really think that's what we're going to see in this race, because it's so hard to complete a pass, and you get so close to completing it, and the only way to do that is to cut a guy off, and then you made him mad and he's behind you, and that's a bad combination.
Well, and talking to some of these drivers earlier today, the slide job is going to be very important today for them to pull that routine off. But the problem with it is if you do that move, and you've talked about overdriving the corners and how your race car has to go somewhere after that, they're saying you're going to have to park it in the middle of the corner after you complete that move, and now the guy that you've just done that to is going to have the opportunity to either hit you or try to pass you back, one or the other.
Ross got the big win. We all know his story was running full-time in the Xfinity Series, moved over to Gander Trucks. But when he pulled into victory lane today, one of the first drivers to congratulate him, Josh Williams, who's on track and qualifying right now. Driving for Mario Goslin in the 36 car. He's 5th place.
Ross is one of those guys, you'll find him in both ends of the garage area. He doesn't just hang around with the leaders in the points. He's liable to be in any part, in any point of the garage area, chatting with the other drivers. And Josh is just a great story. He works really hard on this car. Talked to him up at Pocono. He was pushing it through inspection and had a tape measure in his hand. He said, I got a little bit more work to do before we can get on the track. He just loves the hands-on work that these guys do to get this opportunity.
This team's actually based in Florida, but they work a lot of their cars through the paces at Josh's shop in North Carolina. Josh, a Florida native, has a couple of ARCA wins, and his 2nd lap in qualifying keeps him in the 5th position. 10th car to make a run, Garrett Smithley out of Pennsylvania. 4 career top 10s, one of them right here at Iowa.
One of those Johnny Davis cars, and Johnny, one of the hardest working guys. We talk about guys that work hard in the garage, and certainly Johnny Davis falls into that category as an owner, and just enjoy watching his race cars on the racetrack. Garrett Smithley, a nice, got an opportunity to run the Cup race last week as well, so some experience in a Cup car for him, and never hurts. That track time and racing with the guys in the Cup Series really can teach you a lot, just watching them and how they handle the race cars around the racetrack.
Nice pick up there on lap 2. Garrett will go 6 quick so far. Tell you something I bet you didn't know about Garrett Smithley. He was trained in ballroom dance.
I did not know that.
Something he and I have in common.
I'm willing to bet his was not on national TV, much like yours was, though, Michael.
Childhood actor, he was a singer. Man of many trades. Here's David Starr, veteran from Houston, Texas, driving the 52 for Jimmy Means.
27th quick in practice yesterday for David, so he'll be looking to pick up a little bit from that time.
I like the way that car hugged the bottom there, but you can just tell how rough the ride is here at Iowa. Watch that car bounce around. A lot of times, you need that left front shock to have a lot of pull down in it so you can get the front end to stick. See how it kind of wants to raise up coming off the exit there? And then that translates to a rough ride over the bumps.
And And a lot of different types of bumps at Iowa. Sometimes you have the tunnel bumps, which is what we see in the middle of turns 1 and 2 here. But then you have the bumps down in 3 and 4, and they're because of the patchwork that they've put on the racetrack, and that patchwork has a different level of grip than other areas of the racetrack. So not only do you hit the bump, which is maybe a more fine bump than if you have the tunnel bump, but it also changes the grip level of the race car when you go across it. And the drivers have to equate for that, and they have to figure in for that and plan on that happening to their race car. Every movement on the steering wheel can affect that.
Chad Fincham in the 42. Made every race this year with the exception of the season opener at Daytona. And because of the point circumstances, if you go back, there were a couple of times he was scheduled to start on the front row because of qualifying rainouts. This is a kid that's got a lot of talent out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And his qualifying effort here puts him fourth. And this has been a great track, as we talked earlier, for drivers making their Xfinity debut. Remember when we were introduced to Bubba Wallace, May 2012? Brandon Jones made his first start here, top 10 for Richard Childress Racing. Same for Riley Herbst a year ago, and Joe Gibbs and Justin Haley doing the same. High expectations for Haley later today, but we should point out they're going to have to drop to the back regardless of where they qualify because of an engine change. And here's another young driver, Harrison Burton, driving that 18 car. We heard from him earlier.
See how low he was there, Regan? He had the left of his car all the way off the road. Oh, sideways off the corner, but still able to maintain good pace.
Stayed in the throttle. That will cost him some time, though, as he goes down the back straightaway there. We see that car just jump out.
That slip, like you said, cost him a little bit of time. He was faster on that first lap.
24-13 for Harrison Burton. He's P1. Alan Havana.
And it's good to be down here, just catching up with John Hunter Nemechek, who is really paying attention to the groove and the lines all these drivers are taking. What is it you're looking for?
Just to figure out where I'm going to run here for our qualifying lap. We tested here a couple of months ago, and I have an idea of what I want to try, but I don't know if it's worth trying today. So, but I have to say, Happy Father's Day to Dad. He's not here. He's overseas right now, so hopefully we can go get him a win today. And our whole GMS organization, a victory. I felt pretty good about our car yesterday. Made some changes overnight with our rain package, so hopefully our test data is going to work out to our advantage today.
John Hunter Nemechek, it all starts with a good qualifying lap.
I go back to 2 years ago when he won those truck races back-to-back, one of them being on Father's Day weekend. The other thing about John Hunter, one career win in the Xfinity Series came at Kansas, the same venue where Joe swept the weekend Xfinity and Cup for his final 2 wins in each series. An unbelievable father-son combination there.
It's just been so great to grow up in NASCAR with the Nemecheks because Joe's ma was always there taking pictures, and now it's grandma there doing the same thing. You know, she's grandma now to John Hunter. The family has been all about NASCAR, and it's really cool to see John Hunter with this opportunity. And already winner in truck and Xfinity, see if he could win a championship.
Saw Tyler Matthews on track in the 15 for JD Motorsports. He is 12th. Here's Vinnie Miller. First lap puts him 13th. In the 78 yesterday for BJ McLeod Motorsports had some speed in practice.
I think, did Ross Chastain hop in that car?
There was a bit of an assist there for some laps.
A good opportunity, though, for Vinnie Miller to watch Ross Chastain in his race car and know and understand what that race car was wanting, and if he had the same feedback as what Ross Chastain did.
And you know, Adam, back in the day, that was a regular occurrence. So a lot of times, you know, I remember being at Atlanta one day, and Dale Earnhardt wanted to get in my car. I was driving for the Wood Brothers, and we had a new Ford Taurus, and I didn't have a choice. I was just outside my car, and Dale come in there and hopped in the car. He said, I got to see what this thing feels like.
Dale in a Ford.
Yeah, no, not very many people were there that day.
I don't think that one was advertised. Was it?
That's interesting.
And so what I thought I had to do was go get in his car and make a couple of laps. And that was kind of a fun day for me.
Ray Black Jr. is the 18th car out, so we'll have 20 to go when he wraps up his second lap.
This team's been showing more and more speed. I like both he and Gray Galding are doing a nice job in Bobby Dotter's cars.
You know, they're always good when they can finish inside the top 5, and the top 15 rather. They've done a few times this year. The big 3 qualifying, they're on the way. Bell, Reddick, and Custer. Gorgeous Father's Day here in Newton, Iowa. Right now, it's Xfinity Series qualifying, getting ready for round 14. It happens later today on FS1. Race day with Shannon, Larry, and Jamie at 5. Regan, Michael, and I have got the call of this 250 lapper shortly after 5:30 Eastern time. We're into the Fast 20, the first of those, a driver that's been really quick lately, the 9 of Noah Gregson.
This team really came to life after the 2 offs we had a couple weeks ago, and they had an opportunity to really bond, and it appears to be working on the racetrack for him since then. Last week, a great second place run. Made a really nice pass, quite honestly, at the end of that race to get up to second place on his teammate Michael Annette, and had a lot of damage to that race car to be able to run that well.
Yeah, I talked to him just before the break, and he said, I gotta pick it up. I gotta go faster. I need to perform better. He put a lot of pressure on himself during our conversation, and by golly, he did it. He went out and spent more time at the shop, got to know the team better, and it's resulting in great performance.
And I can tell you what he's doing right now. He's performing in this qualifying. This is going to be a good lap here. A very quick lap to go to the top of the board, and almost 2 tenths quicker.
He goes 23.93 after going 24.23 yesterday, so 3 tenths better in qualifying than what he was in practice.
And I know, Regan, it's just 2 laps, but as a driver, when you can pick up on the second lap, it tells you this is a good race car because you don't wear your tires out.
Yeah, you like that, and and certainly on a short track when there is tire wear, that's a good thing.
Morgan Shepherd out in the 89, and can you believe we're already selling tickets for the 2020 Daytona 500, the 62nd running of the Great American Race. Call 1-800-PIT-SHOP or go to www.daytona500.com.
It's my favorite sports ticket in the world. It's the best day in the world for me, the Daytona 500. It's been sold out the last couple of years, so you better get on the phone and call down there and get your tickets.
Do you still need to say the www? I probably didn't need
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But when you went,
I was just reading the comment.
Do you have dial-up at home still?
you set the bar pretty high with your 3-0 in Chile early, so I want you to really bring it all show long.
Morgan Shepherd, not bad, jumps up to 12th in the 89. Good lap number 2 for him. Might see this driver when we go green in the Great American Race in February. Christopher Bell making his living now on the Xfinity side of things and doing quite well. 3 wins this year after 7 a season ago. Made it to the championship 4, and based on the playoff point situation, I gotta believe he'll be right back down there in South Florida trying to win a championship.
An interesting line here. He's as high up on the racetrack as we've seen anybody running through turns 3 and 4. He's up in that 3rd groove and a very quick lap doing that. So right now these other drivers are getting word of what he just did and that he went fast doing it as we see him down on the bottom of 1 and 2. It'll be interesting to see if he does the top in 3 and 4 again.
And watch the tracker as he goes into the corner. He's losing time, but this line right here on his first lap is really how he gained. Might have got the best out of those tires on lap 1, but great job.
23.80, fast time for Christopher Bell. Alan?
And I'm down here with Tyler Reddick, who's keeping a close eye on Christopher Bell's lap. But what a run you've been on. Top 5s ever since March. Not much practice here, though. Are you confident you can continue that today?
Well, I hope so. You know, our Team of the Beast Chevrolet it's been so good all year long, and this is one of the places that I've been hit and miss at in the past. But it's Father's Day. You never know what's going to happen. I'm going to try and push a little bit harder for my dad and all the dads on our team out there to get a win. And just really cool what Team of the Beast is doing this today for Father's Day with the discount code Dad Jokes 2019. So check it out. Buy some Team of the Beast product on discount, and hopefully we can get this thing victory lane too.
Happy Father's Day to everyone out there, including Hermie Sadler.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Got Justin Haley standing by you watching our monitor. What can you learn from watching some of your fellow competitors get around this racetrack?
You know, me and Reddick, we're just talking, running the top line versus bottom line. Obviously, the 20 put down a good time there, switching it up lane to lane. So just trying to get that sorted out in my mind for qualifying here. We got to go to the back anyway. So basically, we're just qualifying for our pit stall selection next week. But hats off to the number 11 Leaf Filter crew for changing the motor overnight. Only got about 15 laps of practice. So we'll see what we got here.
Adam?
Thank you, Hermie. Listening to Justin Haley talk, we saw Austin Cindric go out. He's 3rd behind Bell and Gregson. Here's the 98 of Chase Briscoe, another team that has been the model of consistency so far in 2019.
You know, as drivers, another variable they're trying to figure out. when Christopher Bell ran the high lane through 3 and 4, somebody had the perfect plan, I'm sure. They're like, well, I'm going to run the bottom both ends. Well, Bell did, and he's fastest. Okay, now what do I do? It's much easier on a driver when you know you go in the corner and you put it right on the bottom, but today that's not the case.
And I was a driver, and I don't know about you, Michael, but I like to sit in my race car with my helmet on before I made that lap, and I'd visualize that lap, and I'd say, this is exactly where I want to go. And to your point, that curveball, it is very difficult to go out there and just change it while you're on the racetrack, because you have in your mind a mark on the wall. I want to drive it this far into the corner, where you want to turn the steering wheel, where you want to release the brakes, and they're having to adjust all of that on the fly for those guys that watched that lap and decided they want to change what they're doing.
Even more difficult now, given that it's single car qualifying, and you really get one rip at it. I mean, 2 laps today, but overall, this is a different mindset, right?
You know, the crazy part, and that I had forgotten about single car qualifying, was you sit there in that race car, you wait for your turn to go, and your heart rate goes up. Your heart starts to beat just a little bit faster as you get down to 5 cars to go, 4 cars to go. And then when it's your turn, you go out there and you know it's got to be so perfect. There's a lot of tension when you go out there to make that lap. When we did the stage qualifying, it wasn't quite the same. It felt like, okay, the first run, I just need to get through it. The second run, I might have to go a little bit better. And then the third run, everything's on the line, but it just had a different feel to it than the single car stuff.
Briscoe is 4th. Here's Michael Annett. 6th is where he is on the board of the 24 cars that have now been out in qualifying. Michael from Des Moines, that's 30 miles west of Iowa Speedway across I-80. And here is Matt Mills, 22, from Lynchburg, Virginia. Driving for B.J. McLeod in that 5 car.
The slower cars yesterday, see if BJ's got Matt tuned up for this qualifying. Had a top 25 finish at Michigan, got 24th, so like to better that here. I'm sure that team talked to them down in the garage area. You know, they shoot for top 20s. The top 20 is a win for some of these teams because they just don't have the budget, the parts, and the pieces to go out and run up front. So you want to just overachieve. Outrun some guys you're not supposed to along the way.
Well, I think they all feel like the playing field is leveled a bit when you come to a place like Iowa because it's a short track, opens the door for so many to go out and have success. Lap number 2 better for Mills, goes up to 16th. A 24.62. Here's someone we need to keep an eye on. Justin Allgaier, who won last year after qualifying 11th. And I think I'm right in saying he's the only driver in the last 5 years or so here at Iowa that has won when starting outside the front 3 rows. He defied the odds when he was able to get that victory a season ago.
And a lot of laps on this racetrack. He knows exactly what he wants to feel out of that race car. We see how low he is. We talked about the different lines, Michael. He just used an extremely low line into the corner compared to some of the other guys into turn 1, right along that yellow line, and we saw the car hopping up and down more because of that, because of how close to that yellow line was. We could really see the visual out of it.
I can promise you one thing, whatever line they run during this session of qualifying, they will run them all in the 250 laps this afternoon. They're going to have to be able to work down on the bottom, right out next to the wall as well.
But the one thing we've heard so much about is just a different tire this weekend, how the rubber's going down and how that will dictate tempo on where the drivers are going and how the racing groove will change. And the weather different today than what we saw for practice here yesterday, although it was a bit limited.
And that limited practice is always something I get excited about, because the less time that these teams have on a racetrack to figure it out, that means they're going to have to figure it out when we drop the green flag later this afternoon. That means they're going to be learning about their cars from start to finish in this race and trying to adjust these cars and make those race cars better. And I think Hermie's got just a little bit more on that for us.
Yeah, Regan, and you guys, I mean, the weather has really changed during this qualifying session. The 20 and the 9 and 22 even, some of the cars up front took advantage of some cloud cover, a little bit of overcast conditions. In the last, say, 4 or 5 cars, it's been completely beaten down on this racetrack. And you guys know as drivers, especially at a place like this, that sun around the entire racetrack can really hurt speed, especially in a qualifying situation.
Stephen Line ends up 14th. Thanks for the report there, Hermie. And here's someone that could be a player later on. John Hunter Nemechek talked earlier about the success he's had at Iowa and as a young driver across NASCAR's various series.
I think it's great that we talk about Iowa being a short track We're seeing speeds close to 160 miles an hour in the corner. And you know, at most short tracks across America, the drivers will go right in the corner and go straight to the bottom. He's running the high groove. That's what makes this place so unique and so fun to watch.
First lap for Nemechek has him third. I think he's going to be a bit off of that on lap number 2. He will stay in the 3rd position. It's a gorgeous Sunday afternoon in Iowa. Happy Father's Day, everybody. 10 cars remain to go out in qualifying for the Xfinity Series here at Iowa Speedway. Top 5 right now: Christopher Bell, Noah Gragson, John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe. All 3 manufacturers represented in the top 5 and 5 different organizations. How about that?
Very competitive session here as our buddy Ryan Sieg hits the road.
Tough couple of weeks for these guys looking to get it back on track. This is the site of one of his, I believe it was his first career top 5 actually a couple years back, finishing 3rd in Iowa.
Actually, he was 2nd to William Byron. And the last couple laps, all I can think about is if something goes wrong for Byron, who, oh, by the way, that night picked up his first career win. If something goes wrong for Byron and Sieg wins it, there's going to be an unbelievable party down in Central Georgia, you know?
My favorite part about that, though, was he got to the front based on track position and based on the pit sequence that took place. When he got there, we all thought, okay, William Byron's just going to walk away with this win. This race is over. He kept up with William Byron, kept the pressure on him. That was certainly no cakewalk at the end of that race, and this team's continued to get better from that day forward.
Yeah, our short track race up in Richmond, Virginia, top 5'd it, and it looked like a heck of a party broke out after that.
Pit road.
That's right. So you were certainly correct, Adam, in your observation of what might happen post-winning, because they're such a fun group. Dad Rod does such a great job with the team, and Cowboy Starlin, hard worker.
Here's Ronnie Bassett Jr. in the 90. Oldest of 7 children. Youngest sibling has Down syndrome, and his parents adopted 2 other children that have Down. So a very unselfish family, and happy Father's Day to Ronnie Sr., who's got some young children out doing great things, including Ronnie and brother Dylan, who are racers that we see on a regular basis here in the Xfinity Series.
And have shown good speed when they get a chance to run. Always cracking that top 20.
Well, Dylan was top 15 in his debut in our last short track race at Richmond driving this 90 car. Ronnie goes 21st. And to put that in perspective, his teammate in the 36, Josh Williams, up in the 17th position right now. So not a bad effort from Mario Goslin and his teams. And we talked about Ryan Sieg. Here's his teammate, the 93 of Josh Balicki. He's a Midwest kid, 24 from Wisconsin.
21st the last time out at Michigan, which is a season's best for Josh. So you like to be able to say the last one was our best one, and hopefully that'll be the case again here in Iowa.
After Balicki, listen to some of the names coming up. Reddick, who's always a threat. Brandon Jones, who's had speed here this weekend. Still have Justin Haley, Zane Smith, and our last car, Cole Custer. Some drama at the end of this qualifying session here at Iowa.
Certainly going to make Christopher Bell sweat this one out right until the end of it to find out if he's going to be able to get the pole or not.
Balicki goes 29th, and here's the aforementioned Tyler Reddick.
The beast.
The one thing we know is after this lap is done, there will be nothing left in that race car because he's going to give it everything he's got all the way around.
He finished top 5 in both short track races, making that more impressive. He lost power steering when he pulled it off at Richmond a couple of months ago.
I had him on my podcast, Adam. I said, I told him on TV, there's no way you lost your power steering and still drove like that. He said, I did too. And his team confirmed that. He completely lost power steering and was able to wrestle that car like he's doing right there around.
We see that car wiggling through turns 1 and 2, and they weren't overly thrilled about the race car after practice yesterday. They made some pretty significant changes to that car, trying to help the car tighten up just a little bit. And we see it's still very loose for him as he's losing a lot of time through 3 and 4 there. He'll have to lean on his first lap, which will put him 3rd on the board.
You know, and that was the case at Richmond too. They had a terrible practice session, and they made a lot of changes, and he just worked on his line, tried to refine what he was doing. drove up to the top 5. That was impressive.
Third is a great pickup over where he was yesterday speed-wise in practice. So hopefully he and crew chief Randall Burnett have got it going in the right direction, having won 3 of the last 5 races. And here's a look at Brandon Jones. Needed a good run last week at Michigan. They got it, finishing 6th, and he's got a nice history here at Iowa.
We showed earlier in the show the view of him making his debut in 2015 at Iowa. And I remember when he walked through the garage the first time, and I looked at him and I thought, I don't know if he's old enough to have a driver's license, and he's out here in a race car already. Certainly he's come a long way since then, and done a nice job in this series.
Gibbs cars have won 4 of the last 6 races. This short track in the Midwest. Bell leads the way in qualifying. Teammate Harrison Burton is 7th. First lap for Jones puts him 8th, and that's where he will stay. Don't see Ryan Ellis often. Good to see him with a driver's suit on here this weekend.
Typically working on the Cup side of things with the 32 car as their PR representative and somebody that works very hard in the garage area for that race team and driver Troy LaJoy. And it's nice to see Ryan get the opportunity to be in a race car during this Cup off weekend. And sometimes we forget that he's a driver also. We see him doing the other stuff in the garage, and he's still a driver at heart.
First start of the year, and that car has kind of a PR guy person look to it, doesn't it? All decked out in beautiful red, white, and blue livery. Tell he's got some great sponsors on board. The band is on the side of that.
See a lot more paint schemes like that in the next few weeks as we head toward Daytona, July 4th weekend. 24th for Ryan Ellis. And we're down now to 4 cars remaining. First of those, Jeremy Clements, the pride of Spartanburg, South Carolina.
This is one of those teams that's got to have Iowa marked down, and the short tracks being kind of their bread and butter, places where they go and they have a little bit more of an opportunity to have a good run. He was 13th quick in practice yesterday, and tracking on a good lap so far right now.
Got loose up off turn 4. You can see that tracker really going the wrong way there.
I'm looking at our pylon. Brandon Brown continues in the top 15. He's 11th right now. Really nice job for that team.
This looks like a nice little pickup here so far on this lap for if he could just hold it.
To Michael's point earlier, we saw him gain so much time getting into that corner. You talked about it earlier on, but he lost everything he gained when he went to the exit of the corner. Couldn't get the power down and couldn't get that car to rotate like he needed it to.
But does jump up to 10th. Let's go inside out. Justin Haley driving the 11 for Collins.
Look at the bumps here, and we see how much his head's moving around. This isn't qualifying. This is the best that the car is going to be over the bumps all day long because you have tape on the grill, you have that added downforce, and his head is still moving all around in the corners, down the straightaways. That tells you the character that is in this racetrack.
Let's listen to how he works that throttle too, Regan. How he has to just get on and off. Listen.
Nice rollout getting into turn 1 there. Didn't aggressively snap out of it. That helps set the nose down just a little bit smoother across those bumps.
Sounded like a solid run up off turn 4. Good traction. Yeah. Picks it up a couple tenths.
Went from 12 to 6, Michael.
That's a nice pass off turn 4. You could hear off turn 2 he was working the throttle. Couldn't quite get it wide open, but did a nice job down in 3 and 4.
We've established now that he has speed. The question becomes, does he have the handle to get through the field because they changed an engine, as he said earlier, going to have to drop to the rear. And now we look at Zane Smith, another driver that was impressive at Richmond, 5th career start coming this weekend, driving that 8 for Junior Motorsports.
He's been impressive every time he's gotten this car for Dale Jr. A lot of talent, a lot of speed. 11th, 6th, and 9th in his last 3 tries.
And a great job last weekend by this 8 team of executing and getting Jeb Burton in the top 10 after they had a spin and early damage.
Zane went 2nd fastest on that first lap, just by 1,000th of a second out of him.
So extremely close. That's a wonderful run for him in that number 8 car. And this is a driver who's never made a qualifying run here. He didn't get to make one in practice, and he didn't until right then. That was his first opportunity to make a qualifying lap.
Zane stays 2nd. Here's the final car in qualifying. Cole Custer in the 00.
And already pole going to the very top side of turn 1 and 2, and we see down the back straightaway that's paying dividends for him as he's in the green right now.
Third on lap 1. There may or may not have been a wager in the broadcast booth on who's going to get the pole, and I will say that someone had the 20 and someone else had the 0-0.
Right now the 0-0 doing a nice job. He lost the time in 3 and 4 on his first lap though, and as we see, he's not going to lose quite as much.
Oh!
It's going to be close.
No cheering in the press box, please. Cole Custer goes to the top, final car out, and he wins the pole. The 10th of his career, the 10th for Stewart-Haas as an organization. Cole has every one of them.
That's drama there. Last guy goes out and gets it done.
4th pole of the season for Cole Custer and the crew. Congratulations to he and crew chief Mike Shipley. Last time we came to Iowa Speedway, Christopher Bell won, and he just about picked up right where he left off, but Cole Custer nips him for the pole. It's the 10th of his career, Alan.
Last but fast. Cole Custer, the last one to go out, but you will start at the front of the field. We know you've got speed. What will be the biggest challenge in the race, though?
Man, the long run speed. I think we were really loose yesterday, and we made a lot of adjustments for that. And, our field's Mustang, I'm really happy to get them a pole, starting the day off good. But I don't know, it's really nerve-wracking doing this single car qualifying deal, and I think it was a huge advantage for us to go out last. I think there's some gamesmanship going on the radios. We scanned the 20, and he was talking about what his lap was like. I think he was saying the opposite of what he thought, but I was just lucky enough to kind of guess the right lane to run.
Games even in qualifying, Hermie.
Well, Christopher Bell heading into the driver's meeting, had the pole early on and got knocked off right at the end, but your car's been solid all weekend. Assess your chances in today's race.
I think we got a really good shot with our Rude Supra today. Felt really good in practice, so hopefully we can just keep on keeping up with it as the race goes on. Surprised yesterday how black the racetrack got, so it looks like this new tire that they brought is going to really lay down some rubber. Hopefully it gets really wide and we can get above that last seam.
That's Christopher Bell. He'll roll off second, Adam.
Hermie, we say in the Xfinity Series, names are made here, and the young drivers getting it done in qualifying today. California's own Zane Smith will start third. Christopher Bell qualifies second, 6th front row start of the year, and he's alongside Cole Custer, who leads him to the green later on today. Tyler Reddick will be a part of the program. He starts 5th later today. Your thoughts on what we saw in qualifying and how it translates to the race?
It's just going to be crazy. These guys are going to be running right out next to the wall, low on the racetrack. The slide job will be a story that we will be talking about today. I can promise you that. It's the only way you can make passes here, it seems, unless you root a guy out of the way.
I look at some of the young guys up front there, in particular Zane Smith and Noah Gregson. Junior Motorsports, we talked about them maybe needing just a little more speed this year. Showing some speed in qualifying. Be fun to watch them later this afternoon.
Race day on FS1 at 5. Shannon, Larry, and Jamie get you ready. Michael Regan and I back at 5:30 Eastern Time. Next year on FS2, it's America's Day at the races. Congratulations to pole winner Cole Custer.